So you all know that Indian football is about to get another ban from FIFA, from AFC, and this will be the second ban in 3 years if it happens. And the reason behind the same is that FIFA and AFC have sent a joint 2 pages letter to Kalyan Chaubey, the AIFF president, mentioning that they will ban the AIFF, that is Indian football in general, if they don't approve and start using the new constitution before October the 30th, 2025. So in this video, we will discuss exactly what is the problem behind the same, what exactly is happening in Indian football, and why a country with 1.4 billion population is still facing an issue in what is the greatest sport in the world. So join and watch the video till the end because we'll be discussing every minute detail regarding the same, the problem, what and how it will affect, and what will happen to the players. So do stay tuned because we will dive deep into it. So, what is the problem? What is the issue? That is the question the Indian football fans are asking the AIFF. And that is a great question because in the 2 pages letter that is sent by FIFA, it has been clearly mentioned that the problem persists from 2017. And now we will talk about the timeline. What exactly was the problem and how it grew over the years. So, talking about 2017, the Delhi High Court, it cancelled AIFF's election and it said that it broke the National Sports Code. And that is the reason why it cancelled the AIFF's election. And that is the point when the Supreme Court had to step in. When they stepped in, so at that time, Praful Patel was the president of the AIFF and he was removed. And in May 2022, the court appointed a committee of administrators, COA, to run AIFF. Now, there and at that point, it was a warning that FIFA might ban India. So that was the first ban I'm talking about in 2022. And how exactly it happened? When the Supreme Court appointed COA, it is a third party running the AIFF, the Indian football, and FIFA and AFC both are stringent in their rules against this. They don't want a third party interfering in football matters of a nation. Now that is what happened. And at that time when the COA was made, so they had made a draft constitution and many state oppositions were there. And before it could be approved, the FIFA ban happened and India were banned briefly for 10 days to be exact. And at that time the Supreme Court were forced to disband the COA, so they had to dissolve the COA in order for Indian football to strive in that scenario during that ban time. And that is the reason why the constitution was almost made by the COA, but it was not given the green light by FIFA or the AFC. So in 2023, retired Justice Nageshwara Rao, the court asked him to submit the final version of the constitution after taking feedback from AIFF, state associations, FIFA, even FSDL. So he made the whole constitution by the end of May 2023 and he submitted it, not to the Supreme Court. Of course, it was submitted, it was given the green light by FIFA and AFC as well. So it was submitted to Supreme Court at 2023, I'm talking about. So Supreme Court had to start the hearing and everything. So Justice Rao submitted his draft and the green light was given by AFC and FIFA, just like I mentioned. The Supreme Court started hearings in March 2025 regarding the same. And it was said that the court will reserve its final verdict. The final verdict will be made by July 2025. So it should have already been done. And if we talk about Nageshwara Rao, so he went to both the headquarters of AFC as well as FIFA to discuss this matter and to have their points as well. So it was done almost, and it is done. It is being submitted to the Supreme Court, but the delays are happening. Now, your question will be, what is the constitution exactly? What is the new constitution we are talking about? And we all know that Indian football is in a mess. You and I, We both agree that we are definitely in a mess. So how will we get out of it? That is the question. Now, the constitution, I'll just read what the constitution includes, but is not limited to: inclusion of at least 5 former national players, including 2 women, in the 14-member executive committee; removal of office bearers through a no confidence motion; changes in general body constitution: one representative from every member association, that is the state association; 15 eminent players, should have minimum 5 women; 3 club representatives, one each from ISL, I League, and Indian Women's League, that is the IWL; 2 representatives from referees, one male, one female; and 2 representatives from coaches, one male and one female. And this change meant that the vote of the state association, that is the member association, has been reduced from 2 to 1, and which is, I think, is a great sign. Now, another one is a person can hold office for a maximum period of 12 years in his or her lifetime, subject to serving a maximum of 2 successive terms of 4 years each. It also provided an age gap of 70 years. Now I know that you might have not understood some of the points, so I will repeat it in layman terms. So, in simple terms, players get a say. At least 5 former national players, so 2 must be women, will be part of the 14-member executive committee. Okay, more representative in the general body. So in the general body, there will be more representatives. So the coaches, the former players will have a more say. So one representative from each state association, that is the member association; 15 eminent players, 5 women minimum. So these players will be also there. 3 club representatives, because clubs matter in Indian football. So one from ISL, one from I League and Women's League; 2 referees, one man, one woman; 2 coaches, same. And just like I mentioned, this reduces the power of state associations. So from 2 votes, now they only have 1 vote. So we are moving towards a much more democratic way in this new constitution that is made by Honorable retired Judge Nageshwar Rao. The accountability: office bearers can be removed through a no confidence motion. So a no confidence motion can be also taken up to against the office bearers, and they can be removed. So there is more accountability. Tenure limits: now we all know that politicians in India or anyone in India stay for a long period of time, which eventually hurts the nation. Or if we talk about a sport, then it hurts the sport as well. For example, football. So maximum only 12 years in total, and only 2 continuous terms, that is of 4 years each, allowed before taking a break. And there is an age cap as well, that is after 70 years no one can hold office. So you have to be before 70, you have to be lower than 70 to be part of this constitution. So this is the new constitution, and the reason behind this new constitution is, just like I mentioned, the Indian football is in a mess. So we definitely need new constitution, new democratic way, and this is a good method, because if this comes in, it can bring a change in the whole sports ecosystem in India. Because if this happens, and since it is in um, terms with the FIFA and AFC as well, so other sports can also think of the same, and we might see a drastic change in the Indian sports ecosystem, which is a good sign, of course, because not just cricket, I mean, not just football, the other sports as well, apart from cricket, are suffering in India, and we all know that, and we all accept it. Well, talking about the same, the constitution, since the verdict had to be given by July 2025, why isn't it given? That is your other question. Why is it not yet given? So there is the continuous delay, and one of the prime reasons for the same is the AIFF and FSDL contract expiring in December 2025. Now, first thing first, the draft constitution hearings is being dragged into the MRA between AIFF and FSDL. So the master right agreement between AIFF and FSDL, that is another situation going on in Indian football, that is being talked, as Ashish Negi mentioned in his Khel Now article. He said that the lawyers discussing this in the Supreme Court, the draft constitution, are discussing more about the MRA between AIFF and FSDL, which is not the point. You have to get the constitution ready. After that, we can see if the MRA is ready or not. AFF have not worked properly. The ISL is already suspended, and we all don't know when it will start. So first, the question is, the outcome is getting delayed because this matter is going on, the MRA one. And once this Supreme Court has already mentioned that once a draft constitution is fixed, once a draft constitution is approved and submitted, everything is sorted, then they can move on to the MRA system. So if you want to file a new system, if you want to file a new legal action, if you want to take a legal action, submit another case of the MRA between AIFF and FSDL. Don't bring that in this draft constitution. It will keep getting delayed, and we might face the FIFA ban, the international ban. So essentially, what is happening exactly is, if the new constitution calls for fresh elections, if the new constitution is approved and it calls for fresh elections, then whatever the decision is of the MRA, if it happens before this draft constitution, will be null and void, because the new committee is there. They will then take the decision. So Supreme Court is already right. They want the draft constitution to be done. Then we can see what the MRA thinks, what ISL will happen or not, whether I League and everything this will run properly or not. But first, the draft constitution needs to be done, because the new committee will have the right on this matter. So that is the issue going on. Now, coming back to the letter, the important part as to what exactly the bombshell that has been dropped on Kalyan Chaubey, the AIFF president. Well, two-page letter, and it is a strong letter. If you will see, there are big paragraphs in the same. If I read the letter, and if I start reading it, so, dear President, we write to you to express our profound concern at the continued failure to finalize and implement the revised constitution of the All India Football Federation, AIFF, a matter that has remained under consideration since proceedings before the Honorable Supreme Court of India in 2017. Despite repeated assurances, which means that AFC and FIFA were constantly in connect with AIFF regarding this matter, the absence of a clear and compliant governance framework has now created an untenable vacuum, and legal uncertainties are at the heart of Indian football. So definitely this has created that uncertainty around Indian football. So they also know that it is creating problems for Indian football. But who will solve it? It is the AIFF. It is the Supreme Court. They have to get it done. The second paragraph, the prolonged impasse has precipitated a governance and operational crisis. Now, this means that the FIFA and AFC also know that the problem going around in Indian football, that the clubs are closing their operations, the players are not getting their salary, leave the players, the staffs which are in dire need of their salaries are not getting paid their salaries. Clubs and players remain uncertain regarding the domestic competition calendar. Commercial partnerships beyond December 2025 remain unconfirmed, and essential functions relating to development, competitions, and marketing are increasingly compromised. The resulting lack of financial stability has had a profound negative impact on India's football ecosystem. See, they are also acknowledging that it is creating problem, particularly affecting footballers employed by clubs participating in the Indian Super League, that is the ISL, which is organized under the auspices of the AIFF. We have received reports from Fifth Pro of the unilateral termination of players' employment contracts by various clubs as a direct consequence of the current impasse. So this delay, that the delay is happening because the MRA topic is going on, which should be stopped, and the draft constitution should be discussed. So that is being clearly mentioned, that they want this delay to be over so that the players can have relief, the staff can have relief, the clubs can have the relief, the sponsors and the partners as well. So there are 3 points that has been clearly mentioned by the AIFF. Um, Before that, the AIFF was also mentioned that furthermore, the enactment of India's new National Sports Governance Act places an additional and immediate obligation on the AIFF to align its constitution with both national legislation and the mandatory requirements of FIFA and the AFC. The FIFA and AFC have also mentioned AIFF and the Supreme Court that the new constitution should be according to the National Sports Governance Act. So it should not deny that as well. It should follow that, and it should follow the FIFA and AFC rules, the status. Okay. Now there are 3 points that has been mentioned by FIFA and AFC jointly. secure a definitive order from the Honorable Supreme Court of India approving the revised AIFF Constitution. So they want a definitive order, like final order, before the 30th of October. Ensure full alignment of the AIFF Constitution with the mandatory provisions of the AIF, FIFA, and AFC statutes and regulations. So it should match, it should follow the FIFA and AFC statutes and regulation as well, and obtain formal rectification of the AIFF Constitution at the next AIFF General Meeting. And the Constitution should be ratified, it should be ready by the next AIFF General Meeting. Now, the third, failure to meet this schedule will leave us with no alternative but to refer the matter to the relevant FIFA decision making body for consideration and decision. In this context, we kindly remind the AIFF of its obligation to manage its affairs independently and without any undue third party influence, including government bodies, as enshrined in Article 14, Paragraph 1 of 1 and Article 19, Paragraph 1 of the FIFA statutes, as well as Article 15, Paragraph 4 of the AFC statutes. Now, this is a shade towards India regarding the 2022 ban, that they don't want another situation happening exactly like the 2022 one, and we are getting a ban for the same. So they don't want that happening, and it is the same that the suspension would result in the loss of all its rights as a FIFA and AFC member as defined in the FIFA and AFC statutes. Now, the repercussions of the same, what it will be: Ronaldo coming to India, it might not happen. Messi coming to Kerala, it might not happen. Uh, Goa and Mohan Bagan playing in the AFC Champions League 2 will not happen. And also, ISL already on hold. The I League will be stopped. Everything will be gone to waste. And that is the issue Indian football is facing at this moment of time. And people say that um, there are other sports as well. But for me, honestly, football is greater than cricket. We all know that. Of course, I'm not going to hurt cricket fans. Of course, cricket is the most followed. But football, Indian football needs your support, guys. It definitely needs your support, and it's going to be now. We can't let this opportunity go. We can't let Indian football fall in the wrong hands. We have to support it. We have to show our support, and whatever way it is possible, show your support. Be behind. Criticize the AIFF, which you are all are doing, but criticize more vocally. Be more vocal, and we have to bring a revolution to Indian football. We are ranked 133rd, which is not a good sign for a country having 1.4 billion population to be staring down the barrel and facing maybe, possibly, another international ban. What are your thoughts on the same? Do let me know in the comment section. And if you like this video, if you found this video informative around the Indian football ecosystem, the ban that is going to happen, don't forget to follow and don't forget to subscribe. All about football. Till then, take care. Jai Hind. We have to grow Indian football. Salaries Farsi from All About Football, signing off.